Hi people, does any of you remember this? This banner was completed on the 19th of the 4th, 2005. It was displayed outside the Welsh Assembly shortly after and for the rest of that year. Never had the police coming to chat to me about what this meant, or the Chief Constable when I sent the copies of it, but there we go. So it made me laugh last night. Well, it didn't make me laugh, it made me bloody annoyed really, when there was this article in our local rag, the Western Mail. I'm going to pop that up by there so I can read you bits out of it. And there's the editor's name there, Mr. Alan Edmonds. That's his phone number. And that's the web address of the Press Complaints Commission, because I'm going to be contacting them about Mr. Alan Edmonds and his newspaper, the Western Mail. 13th of September 2010. 5 years ago this was created, this banner. I'm talking about the 30 million in rent rebates that the council have in their housing revenue account, or rent revenue account I call it. It's all the same, isn't it? Housing revenue account, rent revenue account. Wales loses 1 billion to London in rent scandal. Welsh local authorities have been robbed of a staggering 1 billion since the National Assembly was set up because of a discredited rule that forces them to send council house rent money to the Treasury. Last night, Plaid Cymru's finance spokesman Jonathan Edwards said the loss of so much money in Wales was a major scandal that could not be allowed to continue. The figures were released as union leaders today warned of UK by blah blah blah. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Here's the article then continued on page 4. Housing rent scandal forces Wales to hand over 1 billion to London. Now they got a table here of figures of how much each council is sending back to the Treasury. In Cardiff they claim it's £139,499,187. In Newport, Jocelyn Davis, the housing minister for Plaid Cymru, is paying back apparently £75,312,267, and in Wrexham it's £109,936,333. I'm questioning that Cardiff figure, because 30 million a year in rent rebates at 11 years is 330 million, Mr. Edmonds, but you won't be questioning that, I suppose, will you? Let's get to the nitty-gritty here. Under existing arrangements, councils that raise more from council rents than they have to spend in maintenance on their homes must send a surplus to the UK government. The cash is then redistributed to local authorities which spend more on refurbishment and repairs than they receive in rents. Records of transactions for each council are known as the housing revenue account. Now, I've been asking for God knows how many years for fencing along my garden, and they haven't had the money. Supposed to have kitchen renews, that hasn't been done in this property. Supposed to have new bathrooms, that hasn't been done in this property. Supposed to have a back door, that hasn't been done in this property. And the sound insulation before floor and ceiling is still below minimum building standard regulations, and I'm still being goaded by the arsehole above and his pals, dropping shit on the floor, having a good old laugh, just to try and goad me. I am pissed off with it, Mr. Edmonds. I believe, Mr. Edmonds, that you and your newspaper have aided and abetted the Welsh Assembly in its criminal negligence to my health and welfare. I believe you've done that, Mr. Edmonds, and I believe their criminal negligence has turned now into a hate crime, and that your paper has aided and abetted that hate crime by the Welsh Assembly Government, by Cardiff County Council, and now by the House of Parliament and the House of Lords, because they're blocking my emails. Not that your newspaper is doing anything about exposing Welsh Assembly members or House of Parliament members or House of Lords members blocking emails from concerned individuals. No, sir. You don't seem to be doing that, do you, Mr. Edmonds? So let's get on with this article then. In June, UK Housing Minister Grant Shapps described the system as a mess and confirmed the continuation of a consultation on proposed changes began by his Labour predecessor, but the consultation, which was completed on June 6 and whose results are currently being evaluated, relates only to England. Mr. Shapps said in June, for far too many years this unfair system has tied the hands of councils, stopping them from best meeting housing needs of communities they serve. Under his proposals, councils would keep all rents they collect from their homes and all receipts of any sales of housing or land. In return, councils would take on some additional housing debt. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. It's essential that this is sorted out. It's wholly wrong that Wales, officially the poorest nation in the UK, should be losing money. Oh, that was Mr. Edwards there. Oh, he's a Plaid guy. But here's the real. Mr. Edwards pointed out that the current system acted as a disincentive to councils to hold on to their homes. If they transferred ownership to properties to a housing association, their HRA is shut down. The new social landlord is allowed to keep any surplus. He added, I know Deputy Housing Minister Jocelyn Davies is very concerned about this situation, which is allowed to continue for many years by previous Labour government. It's crucial that the pressure is brought to bear on Westminster's coalition to ensure Wales can extricate itself from these arrangements as soon as possible. Now I'm claiming that all these councils listed here, and I could run through them: Blaenau, Gwent, Bridgend, Caerphilly, Cardiff, Carmarthen, Ceredigion, Conway, Denbighshire, Flintshire, Gwynedd, Monmouthshire, Neath, Port Talbot, Newport, Pembroke, Powys, Rhondda, and Taff, Swansea, Torfaen, Vale of Glamorgan, Wrexham, have all failed in their duty of care to their tenants by not recommending to their tenants that they change to a housing association. Because they're claiming that this 139 million in Cardiff would have been kept by the housing association. What difference would social housing be like in Cardiff over the last 11 years if they'd had 139 million to invest in properties? Hell of a lot better than it is now. Hell of a lot of these buy-to-let properties going around because the housing association would have been able to purchase them on the open market. So yeah, failure in their duty of care to their tenants. All of these councils and the Welsh Assembly Government has aided and abetted that failure in the duty of care by not demanding that they transfer out of it, so this anomaly wouldn't be occurring. But I'm claiming, Mr. Edmonds, that 139 million should be 330 million if there was an investigation by the police fraud squad to say, well, excuse me, how are you claiming that there's 30 million in rent rebates when it's supposed to come from central government, and then you're sending it back, and then they have figures like they show in the scandalous Daily Express video that I shot. The government are claiming that they're paying so much out in housing benefit. I think it's a big, myth that governments have got all this debt, when really they're just playing with figures. Playing with figures, claiming there's a deficit when it could be wiped out. Because it's odd how after my Crazy Dave slashes billions off housing benefit blog, they suddenly all cancelled, blocked my emails from getting through to them. Like I won't be able to send this directly to the Prime Minister. I'll have to go through his website, and there's maybe we won't be able to deal with your friggin' email to us, Crazy Dave. Well, maybe they won't. Yep, I'm going to be making a complaint to the Press Complaints Commission today. I tried them before to no joy, but maybe this time they might actually agree if they watch this video that, excuse me, I think we've made a mistake. I think we've been aiding and abetting Mr. Edmonds and his ilk at the Western Mail in criminal negligence, and it's turned now into a hate crime. Because I'm still in this goddamn housing situation where I don't get any peace in my evening time. So yeah, this paper. Oh, if only I had the money to afford a solicitor, I would go and buy one and say, sue the arse off these mothers, sue it. And the Welsh Assembly Government, and Cardiff County Council, and House of Lords members, in their criminal negligence, which is now a hate crime. And I'd take along some of those equality human rights commissions that have allowed this continue for so long without getting involved. Hate crime, Equality Human Rights Commission, you've been actively engaged in, as has Mr. Lyons and the BBC Trust. But seeing as how we're running out of time,